With opponents like these, they must not hand out the title of Grandmaster to just anyone. Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 most dangerous Ip Man enemies. For this list, we're looking at the antagonists of the Ip Man franchise and ranking them based on their relative deadliness. To be clear, this isn't so much a ranking of how skilled they are as fighters, but rather how they use their skills. We'll be taking into consideration characters in the 4 main films and excluding those from Master Z Ip Man Legacy, as Ip Man is only a nominal presence in that one. Also, there will be spoilers for the fights in question.
Don't you walk away! What, are you scared of me?
Number 10, the Hanga Gang, Ip Man 2. Let's just say that Ip Man doesn't get the warmest of welcomes when he starts teaching Wing Chun in Hong Kong.
那我先跟你介绍一下，其实我们咏春拳呢，是我们南方贴身短打的。
你不用跟我说那么多了，你跟我打一场，输了我就交学费。
好。
When his pupil Wang gets accosted and kidnapped by Hanga students while trying to hang promotional flyers, Ip comes to the rescue at a local fish market. Naturally, another fight breaks out, which sees Ip and a still-bound Wang take on scores of martial artists. It's not just the fact that the antagonists arm themselves with meat cleavers and other various utensils that makes us nervous, but simply their sheer numbers as they pop up from virtually everywhere. Fortunately, before things get too hairy, backup arrives in the form of Jin Shan Chao, who we'll talk about in a little bit.
你们又闹事啊？没有，师傅，我跟他切磋，他带他师傅来闹事。
Number 9, Suchart, Ip Man 3. Attacking Ip Man is one thing, but doing so in the vicinity of his wife is another. When all of property developer Frank's schemes are thwarted by Ip Man, he enlists the help of a Thai boxer by the name of Suchart to take him out.
Ip Man, Gao Din Koi.
Thinking Ip would be most vulnerable with his wife Wing Sing, Suchart attacks them in an elevator following an oncology appointment. What Suchart does not know is Ip Man's emotional state following his wife's cancer diagnosis, and Ip is given full range to vent. Still, we do feel the threat Suchart poses to an already vulnerable Wing Sing, and she's fortunate enough to have Ip there to keep her out of harm's way by diverting the fight outside the elevator car.
Go.
Number 8, Jin Shan Chao, Ip Man. The first antagonist in the series, Jin Shan Chao is the poster boy for egoism.
Hey, which one should we challenge first?
2, 1.
He rides into Ip's hometown of Foshan looking to prove that his brand of northern martial arts is superior to southern. He initially makes a name for himself by taking down 2 masters, but of course, Ip's there to give him a proper spanking.
I heard Wing Chun was invented by a woman. That suits you just fine. Ip Man, are you afraid of your wife?
It's not the last we hear from Jin, though, as the Japanese invasion makes beggars and looters out of many. Now leading a posse bigger than his initial one, he orchestrates recurring extortions of the cotton mill workers, to the point where Ip Man has to train them to fight back. Thankfully, he learns the error of his ways, and becomes one of Ip's strongest supporters in the sequel.
Go!
Number 7, Ma King Sung, Ip Man 3. While local triad leader Ma King Sung doesn't pose as great of a physical threat in dealing with Ip Man as the aforementioned Suchart, his resources and the lengths he goes to had us admittedly a little worried. He starts small by trying to coerce a headmaster into selling his school before attempting arson upon said school. When both efforts are thwarted by Ip Man and Chung Tin-shi, he stoops so low as to have his goons kidnap Ip's son and his classmates and threaten to sell them into slavery should the headmaster stand pat.
Ip Man, 你好打嘛？一個打10個嘛？今日唔好話我唔俾機會你。
Of course, Ip and Chung arrive to save the day again, but we are left fuming to watch as Ma eludes his comeuppance by fleeing the scene. Number 6, Chung Tin-chi, Ip Man 3.
有機會嘅話，大家切磋下。
While Ip and Chung fight side by side on multiple occasions in Ip Man 3, it's their climactic duel that really got our blood pumping. Most antagonists in the series are brash, polar opposites of Ip Man, but Chung represents such a composed parallel that he really had us questioning whether he could best our titular protagonist.
詠春，張天志。 詠春、葉問。
After all, we'd already seen him take down a plethora of martial arts masters before challenging Ip to decide who is the best at Wing Chun. For most of their subsequent bout, they appeared to be as equally matched as you can get.
我唔係敗不支持嘅人。
Of course, Ip finally gets the upper hand, but we can see why Chung would eventually get his own spin-off movie, Master Z: Ip Man Legacy. Number 5. Colonel Sato, Ip Man. Surprisingly enough, Colonel Sato places so well on our list without even landing a single punch. General Miura's right-hand man, Sato bears nothing but contempt for the oppressed Chinese. Whereas Miura is more honorable and unruffled, Sato is quick-tempered and eager to administer punishment with his sidearm. He immediately earned our ire when he coldly executed Master Liu in Miura's dojo. But it wasn't until he brandished his gun while playing with Ip Man's son that we comprehended the full malignance in his nature.
Bam! Cut it out! Bam! Cut it out! What do you want?
Not to be outdone, the cowardly Sato is quick to shoot Ip Man upon his victory over Miura, but gets exactly what's coming to him only moments later. Oh, and Ip Man survives, obviously. Number 4. Taylor the Twister Miller, Ip Man 2. There's no shortage of ignorant and overpowered baddies in the Ip Man franchise, but none so bombastic as boxing champion Taylor the Twister Miller.
Oh yeah? Well, let's go give him something to scream about then, eh? Go for it.
Hailing from England, Twister arrives in Hong Kong to emphasize the so-called disparity between Eastern and Western fighting styles. For a while, it seems like nothing can take him down, as he shrugs off throngs of martial artists like they're houseflies. He gets quite the test in Hanga Master Hung, but doesn't think twice when he pummels a clearly stubborn and exhausted Hung to death. Blaming the outcome on Hung's weakness rather than his own arrogance, Twister is finally put in his place by an incensed Ip, but not before Ip narrowly evades the same fate.
He says he didn't come here today to prove which is better, Chinese or Western boxing. Although people have different status in life, he doesn't believe that one person's integrity is worth more than another's. He hopes that we can start to respect each other.
Number 3. Frank, Ip Man 3.
Let's see whose fists are the fastest. Yours or mine?
It would be enough to fear Frank on the grounds that he orchestrated the movements of both Suchart and Ma King-sung, but seeing as he's played by legendary boxer Mike Tyson, we knew he'd be no slouch in the ring either. As if Ip's in a video game and has progressed to fight the main boss, he confronts Frank in his office, leaving Frank no choice but to roll up his sleeves and handle Ip himself, promising to relent should Ip last 3 minutes.
Sampanjong. If you laugh, by then, or funkole.
The timer's set, and Frank puts the fist in fisticuffs. Dealing such heavy blows, we're astounded Ip can take them all. Fortunately, Ip is able to buckle down and survive long enough for the timer to go off. Whew. Number 2. Sergeant Geddes, Ip Man 4, the finale. If racism and self-righteousness were superpowers, Sergeant Geddes would be unstoppable.
I'm not racist. See, I don't hate you because you're colored. I hate you because you're a cowardly colored.
Never one to be corrected or upstaged, Geddes will go to any and all lengths to prove that his ethnocentric views on America are the correct ones, and that Kung Fu as a martial art is nothing but phooey.
Let me ask you something. Did you fall out of your crib this morning and bang your little head? Where the hell do you think you are? Does this look like a museum for preserving your ancient Chinese heritage?
Oftentimes, he'll dispatch his lackey Colin to make an impression, but when that fails, he is more than willing to get his hands dirty to send a message himself. Not only did he bust through the Chinese Benevolent Association like they were nothing, but he put their leader Master Wan in the hospital. Thankfully, Ip Man returned the favor, but a world in which people like Geddes go unchecked is a scary one. These guys are all bad, but there's one Ip Man bad guy that stands above the rest. So let's look at the honorable mentions, and then we'll say hello to the most dangerous Ip Man enemy. Master Hung, Ip Man 2. 10 black belts, Ip Man.
Give me 10 of them.
You crazy? Please don't.
I want to fight 10.
Master Wan, Ip Man 4: The Finale. Colin Frater, Ip Man 4: The Finale. The Karate Champion, Ip Man 4: The Finale.
The door won't fight back, but I will.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. General Miura, Ip Man. When it comes to exerting power and influence, you really can't do much better than a general who's also a karate master. While we're certain invading China was not his decision, he is the face of the incursion in the prefecture-level city of Foshan. Ever the martial arts enthusiast, Miura capitalizes on the destitution and famine he's foisted upon the people by promising a bag of rice for every battle won. This exploitation naturally leads to the deaths of many, including Ip Man's friends Master Liu and Lin. However, Miura's exertion of supremacy doesn't stop there, as he seeks to physically assert himself against the city's most skilled fighters, Ip included. Thank goodness Ip bests him, because the people really needed something to cheer about. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.